everybody, and welcome to the first live stream on the Nonstop Horror YouTube channel. Today we are talking about all things Longlegs. Just watched it over the weekend. It's part of a little double feature with my wife. We went and saw Longlegs and A Quiet Place together. It was an interesting double feature there. Give a couple minutes here for people to trickle on in. Once you join the live stream, feel free to let me know that you're here in the live chat. I'm very excited to be talking about Longlegs today. Not to give too much away about my thoughts, but it was an enjoyable experience. It's probably the best way to put it. There's one small thing I need to fix. Well, not fix, but just turn on with my lighting. There we go. Cool. Let me know if I sound good, if anything sounds off or anything. Let me know right away so I can fix it. Again, giving a couple minutes here for people to trickle on in. And also today I'm getting my samples of the Nonstop Horror shirts that I just made. And just got some samples before putting them live so that I can make sure that the material is good and that the fit is good and that the colors look good and all that good stuff. I am kind of hoping that the samples show up during the live stream, because then I'll go and grab them really quick and show you guys an exclusive peek at the merch. Hello. Awesome. So glad everything sounds good. I had a whole streaming setup already in place because of a different channel that I streamed on, but I haven't streamed on it for like a year. So I was like, hopefully most of it is just plug and play and it's gonna be good. So glad that it's sounding good. But yeah, I really hope that the merch shows up today. I'm actually gonna check really quick what the shipping says. Let's see. And just to give you a little preview of what we're looking at here today, this is going to be the screen when I'm just kind of like chatting with you guys and going over any chats in the live chat, and then we're going to be switching over to this screen when we're going to be watching. Let me just tell you what we're doing today. We're going to be talking about my personal thoughts, of course. But then also, we're going to be going over the marketing campaign that led up to this movie. Now, if you haven't seen any of my recent YouTube videos, let me just tell you that I'm not a big fan of watching like every single trailer that comes out for a movie, because usually it gives away too much. Trailers give away way too much these days. You watch a trailer and it's like, okay, I feel like I watched the whole thing. I can tell you exactly what happened and etc. But so I tend to stay away from all that, and like I'm kind of bummed that I stayed away for the Longlegs marketing campaign, because they did a lot of fun little things. Like there was the billboard with the phone number to call. Like, were those real billboards or were they just like generated images? I don't know. We'll find out. There was a billboard with a phone number to call, which I'm guessing Longlegs answers the phone and talks to you, which is really creepy. I'm going to call the number and see if it's still working. I hope that it is. We're going to watch a couple trailers just to kind of dive into and dissect the trailers and see if much was given away with the trailer, or how much was given away. So looking forward to that, and then just kind of going over everyone's thoughts here in the chat as people trickle in. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say that I really liked this movie. Was it overhyped? I would say it was overhyped a little bit, but as with any like crazy marketing campaign, they just had to get butts and seats, and that's what they did. They got butts and seats. They got my butt in a seat. They're gonna get it in a seat again. I want to go watch this again in the theaters, which also is very telling of what I thought of the movie. I want to go see it at least a second time. I'll probably buy it when it comes out as a physical release. That might be a little bit of recency bias going on there because it's so recent, and yeah, but upon first watch, and now that I've had a couple of days to digest everything, looked at reviews online, there are people that are kind of, giving this movie a bad rap, but I don't agree with some of the things that they say, or I do agree with it, but it's not a deal breaker for me anyway. So yeah, the big thing everyone's going to be talking about is Nicolas Cage's performance as Longlegs. And also, I should put this disclaimer as well. I should have put it in my little graphic over here. There are going to be spoilers. We're talking about, like I said, all things Longlegs. There are going to be spoilers. So if anyone is worried about getting the movie spoiled, I guess come back. This will be up as a replay, and you can come back to the discussion afterwards. But Nicolas Cage's performance as Longlegs was crazy. And the makeup department, bravo. Let's give them a round of applause, because he was, it's not Nicolas Cage in any way that you see. I know that some people have said that the voice that he uses is reminiscent of some of his other performances, but the movies that were mentioned, I haven't seen. I think maybe Vampire's Kiss or something like that was mentioned, but I haven't seen that, so I can't. Maybe we'll look up some clips of that and see how close they are, but yeah, it does not look like Nicolas Cage. You can't tell it's Nicolas Cage, and it's just creepy as all hell. That was kind of the highlight of the movie for me. Kind of wish that we had a little bit more build-up of the character before we actually saw him, which, technically we see him in the first 3 minutes of the movie because of the intro scene, but it's for half a second maybe. It's very brief, and you learn right away how he got his Longlegs name, or he gives himself the Longlegs moniker, and it's just because he's creeping up on Maika Monroe's character when she's a kid. He's creeping up on this little girl, and we only see up to here on him for the first few minutes, and he's talking to her in his really creepy voice. And then he says, oh, sorry, you can't, see me. I wore my long legs today, because he's he's an adult and not a child size. So then he's like, what happens if I, do this? Or I don't know what the exact line is. And then he, bends over, and then it, very briefly shows his face, and then it's just, cut to the title scene. That was very effective for me. And I don't count that as, seeing him for the first time. But yeah, I just wish there was a lot more build up before we actually see him in character and what he's gonna be for the rest of the movie. Very, very wild that they were so well able to hide Nicolas Cage under this makeup. One thing that is going to be debated is that, was this movie overhyped? And I believe that it was. One of the big things that they kept talking about with this movie was Maika Monroe's heart rate got up to 170 beats per minute when she first saw Nicolas Cage as Longlegs. And it's on the surface, it's not a lie. Sure, Maika Monroe, there is an interview with her in a podcast. I think it's a Bloody Disgusting podcast where she talks to them. Their Boo Crew podcast is what it was. And she says that, yeah, she was mic'd up, and you could literally, she was on the other side of the door waiting to go in, and you could hear her heartbeat in the microphone. There's a video that I saw on YouTube that is titled Heartbeat or something. We'll see if that gives us any more insight into it, or if it's the actual audio and how that goes. But for one thing, her heart was beating before she even went into the room, so it's not the first time that she saw him. And then I think, the voice also was part of it, as she was explaining it, that once she heard him talk and she realized this isn't Nicolas Cage, then she her heart started bumping a little bit more. And so, yeah, it's a little bit misleading. Like, Nicolas Cage's character was not that scary. Some of the posters made it seem like maybe he'd be like super bloody at some point, which he kind of is, because he bashes his head into an interrogation room table. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. We'll talk lots about Nicolas Cage's character in this. Maika Monroe also gave an amazing performance. Blair Underwood, who is like the chief of the FBI, he was great as well, although some of his decision making wasn't that believable or great. I do have some issues with this film, but some of the highlights, more highlights. Nicolas Cage was a highlight. Maika Monroe was a great. Her acting was on point. Her character is frustrating because she's very sheltered and like she doesn't talk a whole lot, and it's just very like you want to like get into her head to see what she's thinking, because she's not great at getting her thoughts out. But that's all in the performance. Like, she was just able to transform herself into that character. She's a very traumatized person who, I think one of the themes in the movie is that she wasn't able to grow up properly because of this trauma that she experienced. And so it makes sense, and it's just a great performance on her part. Blair Underwood, like I said, he's great. He plays the chief of the FBI, and he does a great job. Also, the cinematography was so good. Loved the cinematography on this. They used wide framing in most of the movie, and I think that lent itself to the creepiness and kind of making you feel like you don't know too much, and that you are still like adding to the mystery. Keeping that wide shot added to the mystery, I believe. And it also further emphasized the one shot, in my mind anyway, that I remember being a super close-up, is when they're interrogating Longlegs after capturing him. For some reason, the interrogation room camera is just like zoomed in on his face. And so I think that the juxtaposition from the wide angle that we were using for most of the film, compared to that in his interrogation room when he's just being, a little weirdo, it was a nice counterbalance, and it added to the creepiness of that shot. So yeah, cinematography was on point. Another thing to point out about the cinematography is the aspect ratio. They use, I don't remember if it's 4:3 ratio or if it's just a square ratio, but this is the aspect ratio. I'm going to bring up In a Violent Nature right now, because they both use this different aspect ratio than traditional modern filmmaking. It totally worked in Longlegs. It did not work for me in A Violent Nature. I have a lot of thoughts about it in A Violent Nature as well, but we're not going to get into that. There's a separate video you can watch if you want my thoughts on In a Violent Nature. But the aspect ratio in Longlegs, they use it each time it's a flashback. So there's like a purpose of it in the storytelling, which, like, as in A Violent Nature, it's just a completely stylistic choice. But in Longlegs, it's stylistic, and it is also a storytelling element, because it's each time they're going to the past and showing us a flashback. So the aspect ratio, I loved the way that they used that as a storytelling element in Longlegs. Also, Longlegs was directed by Oz Perkins. He is the son of Anthony Perkins, who starred in Psycho 2 and Psycho 3, I believe. And so, like, a legacy of horror here, and the directing was very great. And then people were also saying that, well, actually, people weren't saying this necessarily, but from what I was hearing online, the little trinkets that I would get here and there, I was personally getting the vibe that this was going to be on the lines of Prisoners or Zodiac. Some people were saying Silence of the Lambs. And I very much thought that of those three, Prisoners, Zodiac, Silence of the Lambs, which all amazing movies, by the way, all like so good in all the aspects that I've already talked about: cinematography, writing, directing, performances. Especially Zodiac is a stacked cast, but using those as a comparison with Longlegs, of those three, I think it felt a little bit more like Prisoners than the other two. Not necessarily story-wise, but just like the feeling that I felt, the dread and the cinematography and the style, a little bit more like Prisoners than the other two. Silence of the Lambs, I didn't get a whole lot of, honestly. You know, it's maybe the story elements, sure, because it's an FBI agent, kind of like a rookie FBI agent looking for a renowned serial killer. You know, it's pretty much like paint by numbers, Silence of the Lambs. But stylistically, the cinematography, and obviously the ending that we'll talk about, it kind of like veers off that path of Silence of the Lambs. Zodiac, there's cryptic messaging in Longlegs that Maika Monroe's character has to decipher, which one of the we'll dive into it and kind of explain and analyze why this happens. But the Longlegs writes in these cryptic messages, and he leaves all these like birthday, I don't know if they're all in the form of birthday cards, but he leaves these notes behind with these cryptic messages that need to be deciphered. And Maika Monroe is the one that ends up being tasked with that, but Longlegs gives her the cipher for it. Basically, he leaves her a note, a birthday card in her house. In one of the more like chilling scenes in the movie, he doesn't really break into her house. He just walks into her house because she's outside, and she sees him inside, and he leaves the birthday card, and he fills out part of it with like what each letter is in the cipher. And so he, like, Maika Monroe doesn't really like figure it out on her own all the way. He helps her a lot, and I don't know exactly why that is, but as I'm talking about through the movie, I'm sure it'll click for me. But yeah, and let's talk about the ending, the twist. Throughout the movie, Maika Monroe is calling her mom, and her mom seems very lonely and odd, and she even visits her, and her mom's like a hoarder, and she has stuff all over their house. And we eventually find out that Longlegs visited Maika Monroe's character as a child, and was potentially their first victim, because there's a lot to dissect here. I believe they were his first family victims, and to save her daughter, Maika Monroe's character, I already forgot what her name is. I know it's Lee Harker, of course, because Lee Harker and then Agent Carter. Yeah, okay. So Lee Harker. Lee Harker's Maika Monroe's mom wants to save her from dying, and so she basically tells Longlegs that she'll help him murder other families if he spares her daughter. And that's what we find out. And so Maika Monroe, the twist is that Maika Monroe's mom has been helping this whole time. And it's just kind of it's just weird how everything kind of ties in. If you ask me, it's very coincidental. But towards the end, we find out that there is a supernatural element to this movie, and Longlegs has essentially been putting the spirit of the devil inside of these dolls, and he and Maika Monroe's mom have been delivering these dolls to families. She poses as a nun and takes these dolls into their home, and then the doll persuades the family, mostly the dads, I'm pretty sure it's like only the dads, persuades them to murder their family. When we there's one part where Maika Monroe's mom like destroys her Micah's doll, and we see this like smoke, this black smoke leave the doll, which is apparently is the spirit of the devil. And then she like there's some sort of connection between the doll and Maika Monroe, like some voodoo stuff, and she just like kind of falls over and is incapacitated after her mom destroys the doll. So there's that kind of like voodoo connection with them as well. And there was one survivor who happened to be at school when this all happened, so she was a survivor. But then she's at a psych ward and jumps off a roof. So yeah, lots of voodoo, supernatural stuff is what this turns into. So if you were preparing for something, again, it's not like Prisoners or Zodiac or Silence of the Lambs in that aspect. They throw in a supernatural element, which could have been okay if the ending played out a little bit differently than it did. It feels very rushed. I will say the ending feels very rushed after we find out that it's all supernatural. Things just go like 100 miles an hour afterwards. And we get kind of spoon-fed the explanation of what's been going on by Maika Monroe's mom. It's like visually they're showing us what's going on, but also she's just like very much just explaining it to us. It's like an explain like I'm 5 in the moment. I need to fix my microphone. And also take a little sip of my coffee. So yeah, shit just hits the fan once we find out there's a supernatural element, and it goes by very quickly. And yeah, so what all happens at the end? There's been this discussion. They found out that all these victims, the daughter and the families, all have birthdays around the 13th of the month. And turns out Agent Carter, the chief of the FBI, his daughter has a birthday around the 13th. And throughout the whole movie, I got lots of burps, guys. Give me a second. Throughout the whole movie, he doesn't think it's that much of an issue that his daughter has a birthday around the same time that Longlegs victims are killed. It doesn't seem to come up at all. He's so close to the case that it's like you'd think that they would give that a little bit more thought, but they did not. I'm just going to check something really quick. Feel free to drop your thoughts at any point as well. I'm actually going to post. We're going to get back to the story in a second. I'm going to post the live to Instagram really quick in a story just so we can get some more. A couple more bodies in here. Let's see. Going over to Instagram. And for those in the chat right now, feel free to comment your thoughts on the movie at any point. Also, live now. We be live. Longlegs talk. Make the text red, of course. Actually, it needs to be a brighter red. Okay. Just posting a link on Instagram and technically Facebook to get more people in. Sweet. Alright, got my threads, peeps. Got the Instagram folk. Awesome. So, yeah, Blair Underwood's character, they don't seem to care that the birthdays are coinciding, and so, of course, his family become victims of this supernatural scam. They get a free doll, but it's going to cost you your life. So, yeah, and unfortunately, Blair Underwood, Agent Carter, he dies and his wife dies, but his daughter is saved because Maika Monroe shows up and she realizes that her mom is there with the doll. And the family has already been overcome by the doll's presence and the doll's powers. And there's a lot of inaction on Maika Monroe's part. She does not try to stop her boss from going into the kitchen and murdering his wife. But when he comes back out, she shoots him, then she shoots her mom, and then we're left with, like, she tries to shoot the doll, and she's either run out of bullets or just the doll is so powerful that it won't let her shoot it. I don't know. And then she saves Agent Carter's daughter. And I think there are some theories going around that Maika Monroe is going to, like, almost either be the new Longlegs or help the new Longlegs to save the daughter's life. And I forgot the daughter's legs. I forgot the daughter's legs. I forgot the daughter's name already. Let's check IMDb, see what the daughter's name is. I want to say it's like Rose or something. Ruby. That was close. So yeah, there's a theory that maybe Maika Monroe is going to be the new accomplice, which is fine. Like, okay. It's just a theory, though. There's nothing really to further insinuate that. Let me see if there's any other big plot points that I'm missing here. Yeah, these dolls all have hold on, guys, 1 second. Okay, so yeah, these dolls that Longlegs has been making have these dolls have these orbs that he's infused the devil's spirit into and put them in these dolls. So that's how these dolls are getting the spirit into their head. Yeah, for some reason, and yeah, Maika has forgotten all of the childhood trauma that came from Longlegs visiting her and her family. We don't really learn about Maika Monroe's dad at all. At one point, I was like, wait a second, is Longlegs going to end up being her daddy? But that did not happen. Because all the families that have been victims of this are, the father is the one that gets kind of the demon spirit in him and kills everyone and then kills themselves. But Maika Monroe, her dad wasn't part of the thing, which kind of leads to the question of why did Longlegs target her family, and where was her dad? Like, what happened to her dad? It might not matter at all, but it's an interesting question of like, why would he go after her family if daddy's not around? Yep. Oh yeah. For a second, I couldn't remember the last shot of the film because I remember it ending kind of abruptly. But so Maika Monroe's character tries to shoot the doll, doesn't work, and then she just whisks Ruby away, and then I think we get like a Longlegs singing "Happy Birthday" like overlaid of the scene, which is really creepy. Again, Longlegs was the best part of this movie. But then we go back to the interrogation room where Longlegs is still alive, and then he just says like "Hail Satan" and like blows a kiss at the camera, which is very cheeky. It was a very interesting way to end the movie. It just like it cuts to the credits afterwards. Another stylistic thing that I loved at the about Longlegs was that at the very end when the credits start rolling, they go backwards. So instead of like scrolling up, they all scroll down. Just little things like that I dig. So yeah, let me pull up. Let's see, is this Wikipedia page blocked at all? No. So we got the Wikipedia page here. Let's see if there's anything that I missed. It's got a 7.4 on IMDb right now, which for a horror movie is pretty good. Yeah, I think that there's some sort of like intuition or psychic ability that Maika gets because of her connection to this as well. That's not super fleshed out. That's kind of like a plot point that you kind of have to think of yourself. If you're joining the chat, I would love to know if you saw this over the weekend and if you liked it. If you didn't watch it and you're on a live stream that's spoiling the whole thing, you're so doing yourself a disservice. I really think it's worth watching in the theaters. It's so good. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the chat if you went to see it this weekend. Yeah, I think we've pretty much talked about the whole everything. There were a couple of jump scares, I guess you could call them, in this, like maybe literally like 2 or 3. The one at the beginning where we first see Longlegs and he like ducks down into view of the camera. That was great. There's another one where Maika Monroe's character Lee Harker goes back home and finds a chest in her childhood bedroom, and she's going through all these like Polaroid photos that she took when she was a kid, and one of them is of Longlegs, and they kind of use that same shot of when he like not ducked down, but like in that same day and that same incident. They use that as a jump scare, just like flashes really quick from the Polaroid to his face. So that was great. But this movie does not rely on jump scares at all, which is great. I feel like a lot of people these days are like, horror, like cheap jump scares, there's too many of them. Like too many movies use cheap jump scares, and Longlegs does not do that at all. Those are the only 2 that I can even think of. One other thing to note about the cinematography, though, is that because we're using such a wide angle lens, kind of like what I'm using here on this stream, like because they're using that, you can see so much of the background, and it makes you think that like, oh, like I should be watching the background here to see if there's any creepy shit happening back there. And like hardly anything is ever back there, but it adds to the tension and to the dread and the suspense for me at least. I was just always like, what's gonna happen behind her? It's mostly in scenes with Lee Harker. But there's also, it's very hard to catch, but there are a couple of glimpses of like a devil shadow thing. I think there's two scenes in particular where you can barely make out an outline of a devil shadow thing, which was very creepy because you had to like, as soon as you could like pinpoint that that's what you're looking at, it like switched frames and you're kind of like, did I really see that, or am I just like psyching myself out? So little things like that were great. So yeah, I think that's about it. It wasn't super gory either. I think people might have been expecting it to be gory, especially because of one of the posters. What's this? Not that one. Yeah, like this. Well, I don't know. I don't think that this image is very well representative of the image. This looks very creepy, I think. This poster right here, when I saw this poster, I was like, oh, like Joker vibes, honestly. Just from this poster, I'm not saying that get Joker vibes from the movie. Although the transformation into this character, I think, honestly, could be in discussions with the Joker. But combined with this poster right here, like, yeah, like, that could be the eyes of the Joker. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see this as well. This right here. Yeah, Joker vibes for me personally. Let's see what other posters we got. We got that. This is just the back of Longlegs' head in the interrogation room. And so in case you don't know, I'm very active on Threads. And I saw someone on Threads, I believe it was Martin Strange over on Threads, posted something saying that like whoever at Variety spoiled a huge aspect of Longlegs in an Instagram caption should have their head caved in or something like that. And the aspect that they revealed in that Variety Instagram post was the fact that Maika Monroe and Longlegs, Nicolas Cage, are only in one scene together, which I think constitutes as a spoiler, because then you're kind of just like, oh well, either someone dies in that scene or it's the very ending scene, or something like that. It's like it kind of gives too much away. But that interrogation scene is interesting. Longlegs is kind of dancing around giving straight up answers as Maika Monroe is trying to figure out what the heck is going on here, because it's not hard for them to capture Longlegs. He's like waiting at a bus stop for something and they just like pull up on him. I forget what the impetus is that makes them like know who it is. I forget what it is. Does the Wikipedia say? Do. Let's see, where in... Oh, here we go. Okay, so yeah, it's after she finds the Polaroid picture. She gives that to the FBI, and so that's how they track him down and find out where he is. But yeah, he's just like chilling at a bus stop, and they like pull up on him with like SWAT vehicles and like 10 cop cars. It's pretty great. And he goes willingly. Carter angrily confronts Lee about her involvement. If that's true, Carter like encourages her to go investigate her house after finding out that she was potentially visited by him. So I don't know. Yeah, Carter's like all over the place, man. I don't know what his deal is. Um oh, I don't want to go to eBay. I just want to see this. I want to see a big boy. Open image, a new tab. Ugh. I'm pretty sure this is just one of the family murders. I don't remember specifically seeing that in the movie. But yeah, really the only thing that I had to go off of was like this poster. Oops, don't search. Open image and new tab. There we go. Yeah, this poster was pretty much all I had to go off of going into this movie. And yeah, initially I kind of thought it was going to be about spiders, so I almost wrote it off because I'm not a big fan of the spiders, you see. So I almost wrote it off, but it was like I quickly found out like it's going to have nothing to do with spiders. I think some people were maybe anticipating that it was going to have like there was going to be a twist that has to do with spiders, but that's not the case. What's this poster? Oh, this was part of that pretty creepy scene where Lee, who apparently lives in the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere, which is very safe. She starts hearing weird sounds and there's someone outside. She goes to investigate. Actually, it's before she goes outside, but she sees this silhouette of Longlegs, and so she goes to investigate. And then she turns back around to the house, and you can see Longlegs walking through her house. It's pretty great, intense scene. And then she gets handed the answers to the cipher. Again, man, that was the worst part of it. Was just that it, just like they spoon feed us the ending of the movie. Maika Monroe is spoon fed the cipher of the Zodiac, and I just wish there's a little bit more investigation into like figuring out what the letters mean, but it is what it is. This is her mom. I'm not sure if people guessed that just from this image, but that is her mom, which I guess I haven't talked much about Alicia Witt of Urban Legend fame. If you haven't seen Urban Legend, so yeah, Alicia Witt, she was an Urban Legend. I think she also, why is it asking me to sign in? I think she's also a singer, perhaps, but I got my introduction to Alicia Witt in Urban Legend, the classic from 1998, which also stars Jared Leto, Danielle Harris. She's briefly in that movie. Tara Reid. Anyway. Love her in this. This came out 16 years ago now. Jesus. But she has a great performance in this, and other than the writing that has her reveal everything to us like we're 5 years old. But yeah, I wonder if anyone like guessed her plot twist from this image. Like, I don't know if you can really tell that it's Alicia Witt, but yeah. So she's good. She is great. All right, I want to kind of get into a couple of trailers and some other videos that I have saved that I don't know why it has me signed out. Why am I signed out? That's odd. So let me figure that out really quick. Password. Okay. So we're going to get into the marketing campaign soon and also like reviews. Why is this being so weird? Okay. Just good old trying to get into the YouTube. All right. Now I have a playlist of a couple movies.
Favorite 4.
There we go. So there's an interview here with Maika Monroe and Oz Perkins, the director. There we go. I was like, it doesn't look like it's fitting. Okay. Hello, Amaya. Good morning. Thank you for joining. Have you seen Longlegs? Love to know your thoughts. We're pretty deep into the discussion, but we're still going. We're going to be talking about, we're going to go watch some trailers, kind of dissect, like, how much did they give away, and, like, was it a good choice of me to avoid all the trailers leading up to it? We're also going to call the number that was on the billboard. If you saw any of the marketing, like, we're going to check that out. And then just kind of look, there's a website, right? I think it's like birthdaymurders.net or something like that. We're going to check that out. We're still exploring a lot of Longlegs. There's still a lot to check out if you're just joining in. But this interview, I just thought it'd be fun to watch. It's Oz Perkins and Maika Monroe talking about their favorite horror movies. Seems very fitting. I think I mentioned a podcast episode that I listened to earlier. It's done by the Boo Crew and it's a bloody disgusting. Nope, don't do that. Pocket Cast. Why is everything signed out? I think it's because I cleared my cookies the other day. Let me find this podcast episode. Here it is. All right, so yeah, the Boo Crew, they interviewed Maika Monroe. I think she talks a little bit about the horror movies that she enjoys and how she like prepared for this role and stuff. And so if you listen to podcasts, this is definitely a good one to check out. Again, like the name of the podcast is The Boo Crew, and it's episode 426 with Maika Monroe. But all that to say, I think I might have heard some of these that she's about to mention. It's done by Letterboxd, which is really cool. So let's just like watch a little bit of this and see what their favorite movies are. It looks like it's like 3 minutes long or so.
Favorite 4 horror-ish movies.
You can go horror adjacent. I really like American Werewolf in London. To me, it feels like it invented a subgenre, the kind of like layabout, boyish, sophomoric, silly, grotesque horror movie. I hadn't seen that before I saw American Werewolf. Landis's sort of concept in that feels very strong to me. I like an Ingmar Bergman movie called Hour of the Wolf. And the best thing about that movie for me is things like, start the movie, the titles of the movie, you can hear them building the sets for the movie under the titles. But you hear people kind of arguing about, oh, you gotta put the thing over there, and no, hammer it back in, move it over there, king, king, king. And it's the titles, but that's what's playing. And then they kind of go, okay, let's do a take, let's try one. And then she's sort of sitting out in front of their house.
I've seen American Werewolf in London, but I haven't seen this
movie starts.
movie.
I do think about that Bergman thing all the time, just because it's such like a ballsy punk move. Like, I'm making a fucking movie here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not pretending it's something that it's not. It's a movie. Deal with it.
This first one isn't necessarily horror. Black Bear with Aubrey Plaza and Chris Abbott.
Interesting.
I fucking love that movie.
See, I'm old. I've never heard of that movie.
So many good twists.
Does that make me old? I haven't heard of it either. But Aubrey Plaza, like
Nightmare on Elm Street, just because it was so massively important to my childhood and love for horror.
I like a movie called Possession. What Isabella Gianni does, and Isabella Gianni's performance is one of my favorite horror performances. She doesn't go halfway, really, on anything, and there's a bit that everybody kind of knows from the movie when she's in the tunnel, I think it's a subway tunnel, and she's got groceries, and she just flips the fuck out with her groceries, and she just goes into this one-take thing in this tunnel, swinging her grocery bags against the wall, and there's milk splattering everywhere, and she's clawing at herself. And I like a movie called Cat People.
Possessor. It's so good.
Cat
and
People.
So brilliantly done, so beautiful, so fucked up, amazing. And one of my all-time favorite movies, which again, horror adjacent, Dogtooth by Yorgos Lanthimos.
That's a horror movie.
Right? That's,
yeah, sure.
I think that's...
Sure.
All right, he mentioned Cat People. There's another podcast I listen to called Horror Weekly, and the podcast host, George, his favorite horror movie is also Cat People, and I've never seen it. Might be worth checking out at some point, but I've never seen it. Possessor is like towards the top of my watch list. I need to watch Possessor because that's a movie that people are like, that's a modern horror film that is like very good and not paint by numbers. It's just like really unsettling and disturbing. So I want to check that one out as well. Just really quick, I'm trying to track the merch. I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I ordered some samples of the merch that will be available to purchase soon, but I got the samples because I want to make sure that it fits well, the colors look good, everything is fitting right, and so ordered some samples. Those should be here today, and I'm looking at the tracking. I was hoping that maybe it would get here in the middle of the stream so that I can show you guys the shirts, and yeah, that'd be really cool to do live on stream. I'm checking the tracking right now, and all it says is, here, I'm gonna be bigger. All it says for the tracking right now is that it will be here its expected delivery date is today, but by 9 p.m. So I'm guessing it won't be here within like the next hour or so. But anyway, we're gonna finish this video up really quick. What's up, rat torture victim? I'm sorry to hear about your torture situation. That sounds horrible. But if you're talking about Longlegs, if Longlegs is worth your time, it is very much worth your time. I am very much on the side of someone who loved the movie. I want to go see it again for a second time in the theaters. Definitely a fun one to see in theaters, but yeah, I don't know. This is, sometimes I recommend people like, don't waste your money, just wait till it's streaming. But yeah, this is one that you should go see kind of as soon as possible, especially if you want to, if your goal is to avoid spoilers. For one, this chat is not the place to be because we're talking spoilers. But also, if you're trying to avoid spoilers, like waiting weeks to watch a movie or months, however long it takes for it to get to streaming, a lot of it is going to be revealed to you. And I think just getting that first visceral reaction to everything that happens in it is better than having things spoiled. So, fair warning, we're talking spoilers in here. So if that doesn't matter to you, welcome in. But if so, just wanted to give you a warning. But let's get back to this video really quick. Yeah, Nick Cage is amazing. If you haven't seen Arcadian, that one is currently streaming, and it's on Shudder, I believe. You don't quite see Nicolas Cage. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for joining into the chat as for just a little quick bit that you did. I appreciate it. But yeah, go see Arcadian if you have Shudder. If not, Shudder is very well worth the price. But also, you don't see Nick Cage quite as much as you would like, but he is in it and he does great in it. So, all that good stuff. But yeah, thanks for joining the stream. Sorry that you have to go to work. Ah, yes, you've seen Arcadian. Amazing. It's I posted somewhere on Threads, I think, saying like it's not groundbreaking, but it's fun. It's good. It's a good movie. So yeah, back to this video.
Fair.
Sure, I was gonna say Killing of a Sacred Deer too, but everybody probably says that.
Yeah. But Dogtooth, it's like one of my favorite movies. I love Yorgos, especially his old movies, because you always know when you're watching one of his movies because you just feel so uncomfortable the whole time. That was 4, right? I said 4?
Cool. I appreciate you. Appreciate the kind words. I'm glad that you dig it. I will see you around. There will be plenty of live streams to join as well. If you're a kind of a Monday through Friday 9 to 5, I'm hoping to throw in some weekend streams as well. So yeah, appreciate the kind words. So that was fun, I guess, just kind of finding out where these people find their inspiration from, even though Maika, you know, watching that video and listening to the podcast, it doesn't seem like she's a horror fan. Like, no, I'm not going to gatekeep. Like, you can be a horror fan in just like a few horror movies. I don't want to gatekeep at all. But like, she's not like ingrained in the horror culture like some of us might be, especially like myself. But, you know, she's talking about like horror adjacent films where, you know, like, yeah, if someone said, what's your favorite horror movie? I wouldn't say something that's like horror adjacent. I don't think. I think I would just straight up say like movies that are very well considered to be horror movies. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. But like the fact that she's starring in so many amazing horror films, just kind of like if she's not a huge horror fan, that just kind of boggles my mind that she's able to portray a character in one so well. And Osgood is a little bit older than her, so it's no surprise that some of his favorites are the older films. Nope, that's not what I want to do. A fan that just kind of boggles my mind that she's able. I accidentally opened my own live stream. Let me see if I have any other films in this playlist. Ooh, yeah. Nicolas Cage talking about how his mom inspired his role. That sounds cool. Why can't I navigate YouTube right now? Okay. So I think this was the only planned video, the one that we just watched. But I did find a couple others, and we'll search some more really quick. We'll watch this short too. Why not?
And we have all that on camera. I didn't meet Nick. I didn't see, any photos or anything of what Longlegs was going to look like. So it was all, happening real time. Oz called action. I walked in and I saw Longlegs for the first time.
There she is.
I mean, it was wild. I don't know if I've ever really had an experience like that on set. And we have all that on camera.
When you're making a movie, you're just trying to get as much good stuff as you can and scurry with it back to the darkness of the editing room where you're actually going to figure out what the fuck you have. If there's an opportunity to get something like that, to actually capture a moment where Mike has never seen Nick before, has never been in the presence of the great Nicolas Cage, and you're going to be able to get all that and have it as a piece, you got to go get it.
And we have all that on camera. I didn't meet Nick.
That's awesome. And yeah, earlier, I mentioned the whole heartbeat thing that was kind of lent to the overhyping of this movie. I don't say that to deter from Nicolas Cage's legacy or his performance. Like, yeah, again, it's a highlight of the movie for me. And if it was her first time being in the presence of Nicolas Cage and he's in that character, that's kind of funny. But yeah, so like it's all good, just a little overhyped. But now we're gonna watch Nicolas Cage talk about how his mom inspired his role as Longlegs. It should be interesting, especially given the like parental themes in the movie.
Legs is in the building tonight. I have to say, I'm terrified just standing here talking to you right now.
Well, Thank you. I guess. I mean, it's a character. I was excited about the transformation, to be able to play something where I don't look like myself. It was very liberating. It allowed me to free up some cathartic, if you will, dreams that I had. I wanted to play a character that sounded nothing like myself and looked nothing like myself.
And I was going to say, we have seen you play a range of characters, but nothing like Longlegs.
Why did they just
What was the
zoom in on his
inspiration
lips?
behind playing a character like this? What did you draw from?
Well, it was interesting because when Oz Perkins, the director, sent me the script and I met with him, he said, this is a movie about my mom, which isn't what you expect to hear from a director of a horror film. And I said, well, that's interesting, Oz, because when I was reading this character, it became about my mom. I heard her voice. She wasn't satanic, but she went through a lot. And I heard her voice and the way she would move. And suddenly I thought, I could put all that into this character. That was an inspiration. If I'm any good in the movie, I owe it to my mom. And also, Fellini's Juliet of the Spirits. There was this androgynous prophet in that movie, and I kept, even though it was in Italian, I kept thinking about that character's voice. That was another inspiration.
Interesting.
I
A lot
love
of mom
that
themes.
You're unrecognizable in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple things to point on. He wanted to play something that didn't look like him or sound like him. Nailed it, Mr. Cage. And also, yeah, so many like mom themes in this. I didn't realize that Oz Perkins said that it's a movie about his mom, which is interesting. Maybe it's the aspect of like maybe his mom went through some religious trauma, and yeah, that's very interesting. Might try and look for some more info on that in a second.
In the trailer, we only hear your voice.
It was very important to hide the character. It's like you don't want to give the shark away. You want to make it a reveal. And again, I found it very liberating to play a character that looked and sounded nothing like me. It allowed me to go to certain places I wouldn't have been comfortable going looking as myself. I don't like violence. I don't particularly enjoy serial killer movies, but it was more than that for me. I tried to find what was emotional, what drove this character insane. Can I find empathy in the character and compassion, even though he's doing these incredibly horrible things? It's not him per se, it's the voices,
Before I let you go, how did you, at the end of the day, after shooting and filming Wrap, what did you do to unwind, to detach, to let Longlegs go? What did you do?
I leave it all on set. I go home, I FaceTime my wife, and I just get back to that which is calming and normal.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's always, you hear about these character actors who get super into character on set, particularly, what comes to mind for me is Heath Ledger, of course, as the Joker, which it's another just correlation to Heath Ledger's Joker. Sometimes people get too into their character and it's hard to get out of it. I think that is a big part of what happened to Heath Ledger. But the fact that, Nick Cage is just kind of like, I just go home, work's over, leave it at the office, and that's that. Cool. Let's pull back up the YouTube.
Longlegs is in the...
Yeah, let's just... Longlegs. I don't think we should watch other reviews necessarily. Crowd reactions. All right, let's see how people are reacting.
Is it scary being a lady FBI agent?
Yeah.
A letter was left with the bodies. Longlegs.
Everyone's extremely excited.
This will be the scariest movie. Hoping to get scared.
I don't really know what to expect.
Yes! So excited!
Tonight, courtesy of Neon, they sent us a 35mm print. We are going to be able to partake in something before everybody. Enjoy the film Longlegs on 35mm.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark. Because you are the dark.
It's a brilliant film. It was so much fun. It's haunted. Unsettling. I'm terrified.
It's Nick Cage.
Nick Cage. Nicolas Cage is playing the craziest freak I've ever seen. It was something truly unique.
Stunningly atmospheric.
Took my breath away and I felt like I was vibrating in it.
Every one of my nightmares come to life.
So one thing I will mention about, again, lending itself to the overhype is that the tagline was like the scariest horror movie in like decades, right? If you go into it expecting that, you're not going to enjoy it, honestly. It sets the expectations way too high. I wouldn't put that as a tagline on any movie, or I guess I wouldn't take it seriously as a viewer to be like, I just don't believe lines like that. I usually think the opposite, honestly, as a viewer, where I'm like, oh, they have a tagline saying this is the most disturbing thing you'll ever watch. This is the scariest movie in decades. I'm like, is it though? Is it though? Like maybe to a child or someone who's new to horror, maybe. But Longlegs is not the scariest movie in decades. It's great though. It's still good. Like I need to add the caveat that it is a great movie. Personally, I believe that, but it was overhyped, and I kind of knew it would be overhyped. That's why I didn't look into all the trailers and stuff. So let's look up. I doubt there's anything else.
Can't wait to come see it again.
I thought it was fucking sick.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention like that in that reaction. There's a packed theater. I love a packed theater, especially for a horror movie, because you never know what kind of crowd you're gonna have. I will say my crowd was kind of lackluster, I guess. There wasn't anyone like, sometimes it's fun to like have that one person in the crowd that's like really scared of horror films, and so they are, I guess, maybe louder or more vocal about their reactions to the movie. But I don't remember that being very prominent in our theater, and it was a pretty packed theaters. The most packed theater that I think we've been in since, getting back into watching movies post pandemic. But yeah, love me a packed theater. I know that some people don't like going to theaters because of all the people, but I like that social aspect of enjoying horror with other people. That's why we're here, right? What was I going to look up? Longlegs heartbeat. Let's see what this heartbeat thing is. So for anyone who just joined, one of the big things about leading up to this film was that Maika Monroe's heartbeat got up to 170 beats per minute when she first saw Longlegs, and just explaining that it's overhyping it. But there was a podcast where Maika Monroe further kind of gave more context to it, where she was just like waiting outside of the room, the interrogation room, where she and Longlegs have their one and only encounter in the whole movie. So she was waiting to go into it, and her heartbeat started going. She was mic'd up, and she claims that you could just hear her heartbeat, and that once she walked in and Longlegs started talking is when it really started pumping. So I want to see what this heartbeat thing is from Longlegs, and we're just gonna watch it together.
Alright, look it up when that's roll sound. We will tailstate this, thank you. Action.
Okay, a couple of things to point out. Yeah, her heartbeat was going. It was getting up there. Let's play a metronome at 170 beats per minute. Let's see how fast that is. Okay. It's pretty fast. Yeah, resting heartbeat should be like between like 70 and 90, I think, is a normal range. I'm no doctor. Don't quote me on that. But also, there's a difference between saying that her heartbeat got that high when she saw Longlegs for the first time versus in that, like, it got that fast during the scene. There's a difference between like her seeing him for the first time and then the ending of that scene, which, yes, I think anyone acting in that scene, their heartbeat would jump. So let's go back. I'm just gonna go back to in this. Yeah, they say in this scene. It doesn't say like for the first time. So yeah, as we all know, if you're here, big spoiler. I've put plenty of warnings that it's a spoiler, but in the interrogation room, at the end, Nicolas Cage gives us a good old "Hail Satan" and then bashes his head onto the interrogation room until he dies. And like, yeah, seeing that happen in front of you, whether it's fake or real, my heartbeat would be getting up to 170 BPM also. So yeah, I just think it was just a little overreaching to use that as part of the marketing, but it's fine. You know, you could probably say that about a lot of people's heartbeats in a horror film, but it's fine. It's a good scene. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, let's just go to Neon's YouTube page here. Videos. Let's see what's going down. Then can I just search Longlegs? See, there's so many. Oh, okay. Dang, they were inactive until 2 months ago. Oh, wait, never mind. Why does it jump from 7 months to 2 months to 5 months? I guess when you search a specific term, it just doesn't put it in chronological order. That's fine. So let's look at these little short snippet. Every year there's another. Is that a playlist or is it just a...
911, what's your emergency?
It's my daughter. I gotta be quiet.
Sir, can you stay on the line with me?
But it's not my daughter.
Okay. See, but the thing about using this as the marketing, can it be considered misleading? I don't know, because like it's not a scene that you see in the movie. It's part of the, it's building the lore. That's for sure. I'm trying to decide how I feel about this, because you know the whole thing is about these families, who get possessed. The dad gets possessed and is convinced, persuaded to kill his family on the birthday of their daughter. So maybe, so I guess it's an okay type of marketing, because it in the sense that it doesn't spoil anything for you because this doesn't happen in the movie. But yeah, I don't know. I'm digesting. Let's watch another. Which one did we just watch? Okay, every year there's another. Let's go to Remember to Say Your Prayers.
Are you still saying your prayers? Our prayers protect us from the devil.
Are they gonna show what's inside? Alright, so yeah, that's when they first find one of the dolls, and it's like hiding under the barn there. But they cut away before it reveals too much. But yeah, each doll is like delivered under this sheet right here. And there's like, I don't know, it doesn't show it in this scene, but like, oh wait, maybe you can like barely make it out. I don't know if you guys can see this at all. But there's like glowing eyes. You can like barely make out a like a devilish face under the sheet. Enhance. Wait, why doesn't that make the video bigger? Okay, whatever. Just makes everything else bigger, but not. It's kind of weird for me because I have this bright light up here. But yeah, if you're in a pitch dark room and you're watching this, you can you can see this scary demon face. So yeah, that part, seeing that in the movie was pretty creepy. So like if something like that, like, why wouldn't you want to see that for the first time in the theater and not in the trailer? Anyway, what's next? We've been waiting for her. Okay, so yeah, you get a little tidbit of Nicolas Cage's voice, which is half of what makes it creepy. So yeah, and like you don't really see anything. You see one potential death scene, and that is one of the families that's possessed. So it doesn't reveal too much. I want to find. Let's see, is it thebirthdaymurders.net? Okay, yeah, here we go. Alright, so we got this site up. I have the phone number. Of... I want to call the phone number that was given on the billboards. And I want to do that with you guys and see what we get. I think the billboards say like call the serial killer, so I'm sure that that's what's going to happen is we're going to hear Longlegs, but I haven't done it yet, and I thought it would be cool to do it on stream. Hopefully it's still working. 458 666 4355. Okay, so I have that dialed in there, but I just want to, for anyone who is unaware. Let's see, marketing. Longlegs marketing. Will they even? Okay, so there's one billboard. I think these are. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah. So they have these billboards. You hold up. Let me tell you. Nope. Why did I do that again? Let's just open image, a new tab. Okay, so they had these billboards that people were finding all around. They have this phone number. It's like, call the serial killer. I didn't do it because, again, I just wanted to be as blind as possible going into this film. So let's see what this does.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay. That is definitely, that would have creeped me the fuck out. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely would have creeped me out. And so I'm going to call it again just to see if it changes if you call it a second time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Okay, so it doesn't change, but it is Longlegs singing Happy Birthday, which is creepy without context, right? I mean, it's creepy with the context too. That's fun. Let's just read. I think we'll probably finish out with reading some. Oh yeah, the website. Let's check out this website. So it just talks about Longlegs. So we're going to talk about the website because we've been going for like an hour and a half so far. We're going to talk about this website that was part of the marketing. And then we will read a few reviews and hopefully get some more. Anyone watching, feel free to add your input at this point. Just like what you thought of the movie. And yeah, so we'll finish up with this website and then some reviews. Like on IMDb and Letterboxd, maybe Rotten Tomatoes. We'll see. But yeah. So yeah, there's this website that was given. Just kind of talks about. It's kind of just like the case of Longlegs, talking about the people that have been murdered. Oh wait, it says tune back in Monday, July 15th. Today is Monday, July 15th. What does that mean? At first, all the killings appeared to be straightforward murder-suicides, the handiwork of average men who suddenly snapped and slaughtered their wives and children. But a series of eerie, coded messages left at the crime scenes indicate that someone or something is influencing these horrific crimes. The cryptic letters are signed by someone calling himself Longlegs. Okay, I want to... That's today. What's happening today? So yeah, this is just people under sheets. I guess let's go to the victims. Talks about each of the victims. Lots of blood. Hopefully YouTube is down with that. Oh look, that cryptogram made me think of the Zodiac thing. Zodiac. So yeah, we got all this. It's just pretty much going over all the murders. So there was a break of more than a decade, 10 years, where there were no murders. Break in the case. Okay, let's see. Oh. It's downloading something to my computer. What? Do I dare enter password. Shoot. Okay, this is interesting. I don't know if we should dive into this today. We've already been streaming for an hour and a half. Let me know if we should dive into this and try and figure out this, what's going on here. I'm assuming that each of these is a downloadable file, and you have to unzip them all. Okay, they all require a password. So I'll have to figure out. I'm guessing that these words are the password. Let's see, contact. Friend of a friend. Okay. Well, what the heck? Let's... Alright, first I'm gonna check like the info of the page. Just to see if there's anything hidden here. Not much there. Let's see. View page source. Okay, there's nothing here. Home. Is there anything on this page? No. Okay, let's figure out how to decipher this, the zodiac thing. Let's see. Longlegs birthday murders website. We're going to figure this out together, folks. I love a good ARG. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm just kind of looking up on Reddit people are saying about this. And so this is called an ARG for those who just don't know that term. It's like is it alternate reality game, augmented reality game? I'm no expert, obviously. Alternate reality game. And it's where there's like a bunch of this like marketing that leads up to a film that adds to the lore and stuff, and there's stuff like interactive things that you can figure out, like this decoding of stuff. But they're saying that it reminds them of Cloverfield, which Cloverfield had a huge ARG, and it's given me those vibes as well. But Cloverfield came out in 2008, 16 years ago. And so just stuff like this is just really fun. Oh. They want us to find... Okay, so there's a potential password here, but I'm guessing that this isn't going to be right. Oh, wait, do I just... Hold up. let's check. Oh. That worked. What did that... Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, so I used a password that worked. We're gonna create a folder on my desktop here. Longlegs. We got them long legs. So I'm extracting the files right now as we speak. We got the password. The password is 9 circles. We descend. Oh, it's saying wrong password. Never mind. But it looks like inside of it there's some images and an audio file. So let's see if this password that I found is wrong for all of them. Wrong password. Wrong password? Okay. Maybe we have to look for the Longlegs cipher. Okay. Okay, so there's a Reddit thread here. Just a second. All right. So there's this Reddit thread that talks about the website deciphering these passwords. So we downloaded these 4 files. They're zip files, so they've got lots of stuff inside of them. Came from this website, Birthday Murders, but you can't. Yeah, they're cryptic letters, and we don't know what the passwords are to open the files. So we're trying to figure out what that is. There's this Reddit thread that talks about all the website or all the passwords. So let's open that up and see what they say. So someone has provided the files. Jesus. I feel like YouTube is going to get mad at me for these. But there's a series of images that are part of the marketing for... It's dangerous opening these up on the stream, but that's okay. All right. So if we're going to the victims, oh wait, here we go. Years later, when the case was reopened by the FBI, the coded message would turn out to be a key piece of the evidence. So I'm guessing maybe each family has a different file that is downloaded. Oh, here we go. Wait. We got Agent Carter here now. Okay, so the case was handed off to Agent Carter here. He's in the film. Mr. Blair Underwood. 4 members of a family were found dead on November 14th, 1992. So at this point, Agent Carter has the case. Let's see. Coded letter. Right here. Let's keep going. I'm guessing if it's telling you to tune in on July 15th, that's today. It's after the movie came out. Maybe there's new info, or I thought there would be maybe a post about the Carter family, but that's not the case. Just looking for clues here for what the cipher could be. Yeah, it's nothing hidden in the back end of the website. They're too smart for that. Okay. Okay, let's go back to Reddit and see what's going on. So yeah, it feels like I think reading this Reddit post, it just says that like every so often there'd be an update to the website. That's happened a few times now. There are dedicated people here in this Reddit thread that did way more work than I think I will do to figure out the password. Let's try this password really quick. She used my head like a revolver. Let's see if that opens up any of these. Okay, hold on. Did one of these work? Okay, hold up. Okay, hold on. Photoshop is opening one of these photos. Import image. Is that going to do something for me? Yeah, I don't think that this worked. Alright, well, we've already been streaming for an hour and 45, and it feels like that's going to be a lot of work to try and decipher the new stuff that came out today, although it would be such a great addition to the stream. It's just, I don't even know where to start, where to go. But let's read a few reviews. The Birthday Murders, that's what the Birthday Murder site is. It's just like deciphering these downloads. Hopefully it's not a virus that's going to make my computer explode. But yeah, so if you're interested, it's thebirthdaymurders.net, and there's some files to download and try to decipher. I think you can probably find the answers on Reddit somewhere. Let's see if we sort by new. Okay, hold on. Hold on. What are we doing here? There's some answers. Let's try this out. extract. What? What you talking about, Willis? Okay. I'm just trying to figure out which... Yeah, as you can see here, the passwords are right here. 3 days ago. So it wouldn't include the newest one. But I'm still interested in at least... seeing what these previous ones were about. Yes to all. What is the password? Sand of the sea. Okay, so we got that. There we go. And then there's a second folder, Revelation 13 it says. Oh, what's the second password? The beast out of the sea. Okay. All right. So we have something. I'm bringing Photoshop over here. And I guess I could just open all these. Okay. So these are the files that were in the most recent not the most recent. I think the most recent before today. These were included in there. And so these are the pictures that were in there. So it looks like each thing is just like evidence of these murders with a letter that needs to be deciphered. And yeah, just some pretty crazy images. This is just this one page. Okay, let's read this page and then we'll get into, there's another zipped folder inside of this zipped folder, zip folderception. Let's see what this says. She's talking about the devil, perhaps on account of the mirror's supposed power of drawing out the soul in the reflection and so facilitating its capture. As with shadows and reflections, so with portraits, they are often believed to contain the soul of the person portrayed. Okay. There's a lot more to read there. So I think we can close out of these. And so there's another folder, and I unzipped that folder with the password, and the folder is titled Revelation 13. There's a WAV file in here. I'm kind of scared to play it, if I'm being honest. But oh, it's a video? Questionable. I think it's his interrogation scene, maybe. Is there any audio for you guys on this? I don't hear anything. I thought it said there was a WAV file. Must have just been an AVI file. Let's go to view details. Okay, false alarm. There is no WAV file, so no audio in that one. But there are more fucking crime scene photos. Just real weird stuff. But also some more pieces of paper that for me to not read all of. think it's just like explaining the process of like possessing these dolls, really. I'm not going to read all that jazz. Goodbye, Photoshop. Okay, so that's what these files contain. Let's see. Is it worth opening up the rest? I feel like it's all going to be kind of the same type of thing. Here, let's delete this. Let's just try it. I'm going to try this this second one right here with kind of like with the little bullseye as the last character. Password. The password for this one is X's marks the spot. Wrong password. Shoot. Maybe it's... Is this the right folder? Maybe it's just supposed to be X marks the spot. I think it's a typo. It's not a typo. That password's wrong. Why aren't these passwords working? X marks the spot. Let's try, I guess let's just try the second password here, which is, I could never understand the wind at all. Wrong password. Okay, let's try a different folder. This one that starts with a candy cane. Friend of a friend. That one worked. Okay, this one has the WAV file.
911, what's your emergency?
It's my daughter. But it's not my daughter.
Sir, who's not your daughter?
I gotta be quiet. I gotta be quiet.
Sir, where are you?
When she's sleeping. When she's sleeping, it's the best time to do it.
Do what?
When her eyes are closed.
Okay, creepy. I think some of that was in the one of those trailers that we watched. What's the second password for this one? The folder is titled PQ. The password is this is the she used my head like a revolver. And what's in here? It's kind of just more of the same. Looks like there's some deep lore here that we could get into, but I've been streaming for too long, so we're not going to do that. But it's interesting stuff. It's a great way to market a movie. I don't know if I would have dove super far into this, but it's fun to think about. Let's go into... Let's just read a few reviews, and then we'll get out of here, huh? Letterboxd. Okay. Where are the reviews? Do I have to scroll all the way down here? Oh, we could go over some trivia too. All right, Letterboxd. Longlegs. We got them long legs. So on IMDb, it's holding a 3.6. I've expressed my opinion about the 5-point rating system. I don't think it's nuanced enough, but it's 3.6. Calling yourself Longlegs as a serial killer is so cunty low-key. Like, what if I went by the big fat juicy booty strangler? That's pretty hilarious. Maika slayed this. That's my girl. Yes. Maika and Cage are incredible. I agree. Definitely. More popular reviews. That one about the big fat juicy booty strangler has over 10,000 likes, so it looks like a lot of people like that. Went from watching Joe Biden's press conference straight to this. I've had a long night. I think it's an interesting combo. My favorite part was when I was able to exit the theater into broad daylight in a happy crowded street. Awesome. These are all great reviews. Oh, here's a 2.5 star. As we were leaving the theater, my sister goes, "Why do you always make us watch the weirdest shit?" Okay, well, maybe your sister wasn't the best person to take. I don't know. 1.5 star. Someone hated it. Come on, look how long that review is. Let's see if there are any shorter. I don't really know what I expected, but there was way more Bill Clinton screen time than I was both mentally and physically prepared for. That's just because Bill Clinton there's a portrait of him in the FBI office. He's not. It's kind of like whatever. Let's see. Sort by lowest first. 0.5 star. Let's read some of this. Another really long one. It just wasn't good. Terrible. Should have stayed home. Feel like shit. Daddy's legs were not long. Disappointed. People talking about the legs not actually being long. That's pretty funny. Terrible narrative. Again, it falls apart in the third act. Yes, it definitely does. But the rest of the film, I guess, makes up for it for me. Oh yeah, there were some comical lines in it that I couldn't tell if it was intentional or if it was just bad writing, but there was like specifically one moment where they are at a crime scene of one of the families and they've been dead for like a month, but Maika makes some sort of comment about like taking a long good look, and then Blair Underwood's character is like, "Oh yeah, well there's a dead family in the master bedroom. Why don't you go take a long look at that?" It was just real funny little lines like that. Do not buy the hype. Complete ass. This is a Blumhouse movie disguised as a Neon movie. Ouch. Okay, let's see. When reviewed. Maybe newest first. I just don't want to like sway too much either way. This person wasn't crazy about this. Respect the style and the acting. Okay. I have no interest in occult paranormal shit, and I generally don't find those kind of stories generally satisfying. That's fair. If you went into it just expecting something like Zodiac or Prisoners, where it remains human, and it's just a sick human doing sick stuff, then you will be disappointed because it's supernatural. I was expecting it to remain grounded and to be just like a really messed up person doing messed up stuff, so I was surprised by the supernatural element, and that I think that adding that into the mix is kind of what makes the third act fall apart. Let Nicolas Cage cook whatever the hell he wants to cook. Amen. I was so disappointed in this film and had such high hopes as I love Nick Cage and Maika Monroe. The plot was all over the place, and the unclear mechanics of the demonic stuff going on, like the Satan balls, are you for real, made it hard to believe and follow. Why was Longlegs into dolls? Why did he use a secret code? Most frustratingly, they made Longlegs a T-Rex fanatic. Like, don't drag Mark Bolan into this. It seems like this movie tried to be Annabelle, Zodiac Killer, and Silence of the Lambs all in one story, and all the revelations, exposition at the end only left me with more questions. That's fair. Nice mix of Zodiac and Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, I agree with some of the points that people are making there, but
if I were to rate this, what would I rate this? You know, I want to rate it out of 10. I'd probably rate it a 7 or a 7.5. It's a good watch. It was overhyped, but I think it still deserves like a 7.5. The request of not using Nicolas Cage on posters. Yeah, that's a good request. Like, don't show that freaky motherfucker in the promotional materials. Let that be a reveal in the movie. I respect that. Nicolas Cage and Oz Perkins made the movie as a tribute to their mothers. That's interesting. Yeah, people comparing it also to Kier and Kier and Seven, more detective movies. Talks about the phone number, which we already called. That was a good time. Maika Monroe didn't know what Longlegs was going to look like. Great. Let's read a few IMDb reviews, and then we'll wrap up my thoughts, and then we will go on with our day. The featured review, not the scariest movie of the decade. Okay, calm down. I agree. That tagline should not have been used. It's hard to say this movie was even like scary, honestly. It was a little disturbing. It was very suspenseful, very mystery. Might be one of those films that a lot of people debate whether it's horror or not. Bro, false advertising. His legs were literally normal length. That's like high quality reviews I like reading. The marketing was a blessing and a curse. Sometimes good, sometimes scary, and sometimes laughably goofy. Yes, it gets goofy at times, especially like the times where Longlegs is like singing old like hair metal songs, and at the end we get that shot of him in the interrogation room saying "Hail Satan" and blowing a kiss to the camera. Very, very cheeky stuff. The hype might hurt it. Yes, I agree. True masterpiece of modern cinema. Yeah. It's going to be a very divisive film. Very divisive. Is my hair all messed up? Alright. It's going to be a very divisive film. I enjoyed it. Just to wrap up my thoughts here, I enjoyed Longlegs. It suffered from overhype. Even as someone who didn't watch a bunch of marketing or do the ARG or anything, I still feel like it was overhyped for me. But I still enjoyed it in the theater. My wife thought it was very boring, and that might be because I think you could classify this as a slow burn. Slow burns don't usually work for us. In this case, it worked for me personally, but my wife thought it was boring. And then we watched it as a double feature, and A Quiet Place was right after that, and we also thought that was too boring. Sorry, don't come after me. I did not like the new A Quiet Place. So yeah, it was an unsuccessful pair of viewings for Wifo, but that's okay. Nicolas Cage's performance is amazing. Maika Monroe is great. Blair Underwood is great. Alicia Witt is great. The acting is great. At times it falls short. The cinematography was very good. I loved it. The aspect ratio that they used to show flashbacks was great. It's better use of aspect ratio differences than in Violent Nature. And yeah, story-wise, it's great. I'd call it great until the reveal that it's a supernatural, like demon possessed doll type thing. And then it drops off heavily. but like I mentioned earlier, from the reveal of the supernatural elements to the end of the movie is pretty quick. It just kind of like full pedal to the metal, so we don't have to suffer through it too much in the movie. But yeah, making it a supernatural thing is what's gonna divide a lot of people on this. It was overhyped. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It was good. You should definitely go see it in theaters if you haven't yet. But also, if you haven't watched it and you are watching the stream or even the replay, yeah, I guess you just wanted the whole thing spoiled. But yeah, it was definitely worth the watch. I enjoyed it. I want to go see it again for a second time, and I'm considering buying it when it comes out on physical media. I imagine there'll be a physical release. That'd be great, and I will pick it up. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I appreciate you guys joining me here for over 2 hours. I was not expecting this stream to go that long, but there's just so much to talk about and explore with this movie. I think that makes a movie great, as well as when there's so much to talk about and dive into. Even if you don't like it, like it's good for the horror community and the horror filmmaking in general, just to make things interesting and fun. And we need, it's kind of an experimental game. It's funny that I say that, because In a Violent Nature was an experimental film as well, and that one did not work for me. But I want these filmmakers to just keep experimenting. It's good. Even if the movie doesn't come out to be the best ever, I still think it's a good thing to do. So those are my thoughts. I appreciate you guys joining me on the Nonstop Horror YouTube channel, where we celebrate the best genre all year long. Merch samples are coming today. Gonna try them out, gonna post about them, and then you'll be able to buy a shirt very soon. Let me show you what they look like. It's pretty simple. I think I just have pictures of them somewhere. Maybe. I think it's time for a nap. Why am I so tired? I don't know how people live stream like literally all day. It must be exhausting. I don't know. I don't have the pictures yet, but it's essentially going to be, we're going to start with pretty simple, just like, I think the colors are like a dark gray and then a white, and like in this area it just has like the Nonstop Horror, the words Nonstop Horror, and then on the back it says embrace the fear all year long, or all year round, which is, kind of the motto of the channel, because we celebrate horror all year long. And you'll be able to buy those soon. I just want to get the samples and make sure that they fit right. And yeah, they'll be up for sale. There will be a shop in the YouTube on the YouTube channel that you can buy them, or you can go to Nonstop Horror shop.nonstophorror.com to pick one up as well. So yeah, exciting things on the horizon. If you didn't watch Influencer, which was my most recent upload on YouTube, I talk about influencer horror movies. That video I put a lot of effort into, and they're great movies, so definitely go watch that as well. I'd appreciate a like on that video just to give it some more traction. It means a lot to the channel. But yeah, I appreciate you guys joining me. There will be plenty more live streams coming up. This was fun. I enjoyed it. And so yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.